What's up, movie lovers? I'm Mike, and this is Gotta Love Them Movies. Oh, you guys, welcome back to another edition of Gotta Love Them Movies, your daily dose of movie news. I'm your host, Mr. Mike Brown, and I'm here all the time. You guys, I feel like today is a good day. Today's a really good day. I can't divulge some of the reasons that makes it a good day. More details about that will be coming up later. I can tell you later. I can't divulge all of my secrets right now at this time, but let's just say today is a good day. I know that's incredibly cryptic, and I know that that's it's a little irritating when someone's like, "Oh, I've got really great news, but I can't share it." Let's just say there is good news on the way. And ladies and gentlemen, to help usher in such a wonderful, beautiful day such as today is a very good friend of mine whose name I cannot for the life of me get in the correct order. It is not Carter O'Brien Ford. It is Carter Ford O'Brien. No, dear. I did it backwards again. No. Carter O'Brien Ford.
Backwards.
Carter.
That's my name.
Welcome back to the show, sir. How are you? What's new? How you been?
I'm doing well. Not much is new. Applying to grad school, and that's that. Yeah, just living life.
Tell me about just a little quick brief synopsis about grad school. What's going on there?
Not much. I'm trying to decide if I want to stay in Philly, move back to New York, or possibly join my friend in Chicago. I'm looking at devising programs, playwriting programs, and some other integrated theater performance programs.
All three cities, great options. I mean, I went to college in Philadelphia. I currently live in New York, and let's be honest, if I wasn't living in New York, I'd probably move to Chicago. I'm down, like, here's my battle strategy. If things just happen in the world that I can't live in New York anymore, Chicago, San Diego. I'm down between those two, and I'm like, I don't know which one I want more, but I love both those places.
I've never been out west. I've always wanted to go. I mean, I'm also applying to schools in London, but I don't really see that being financially possible.
London's
for me.
Cool. Yeah. I don't know. It's just a completely different flavor. But you guys, a very different flavor. How's that for a segue? A very different, I know, right? It's terrible segue. Different flavor for today is, it's actually the same flavor. It's movie news. Today's your daily dose of movie news. But before we jump in, first I got to tell you about the YouTube channel. Head on over, if you haven't already done so, to youtube.com. Type in Gotta Love Them Movies. In the top right-hand corner, you will see a red square that says subscribe. Go ahead and click on that button. What clicking on that button does is it helps us to widen our subscriber base. But Mike, you say, we're watching the show on Facebook Live. Why do I have to go to YouTube and subscribe to your channel? Well, Jeffrey, thank you for that question. I appreciate that. The reason that we need people to subscribe to the channel is that with the more subscribers we get, the more watched content the channel receives. And with the more watched content, I get to earn more ad revenue, which means I get to make this show my full-time job. So I very much appreciate that. As soon as we hit 1,000 subscribers, this show will be moving from Facebook to YouTube. So just something to be aware of, something to keep on your radar. All right, guys, with all that down, now it's time to start taking a little bit of movie news.
What?
All right, you guys. So let's just jump right into our very first article. You may have heard very, very sad news came out over the weekend about Alex Trebek. He was 80 years old. He passed away from complications from cancer. He'd been battling cancer for a while now. It'd kind of been in the public news, kind of, sort of, somewhat, a little bit. And it's first of all, it's tragic. Let me pontificate about the word tragic. Is it I don't think it's tragic. But it is the passing of a legend. He was a living legend. There were very few people that you could say, this person is a living legend. Is it tragic? Probably not, because For whom the bell tolls, well, the bell will toll for all of us, right? But it's incredibly sad. Some of us kind of knew it was coming. If you've had a family member or a friend who is unfortunately passed from cancer, you kind of understand these things. Like it's always going to be a back and forth, right? But for some people, like the passing of Alex Trebek just kind of came out of nowhere. It came out of the blue. Some people weren't already familiar with his condition. Some people didn't know that this was a possibility or something looming on the horizon. I feel like I was a little bit more prepared to hear this. Before we jump into the news part of it, though, Carter, were you familiar with Alex Trebek's conditions with cancer and complications and all that? And were you kind of mentally and emotionally prepared for it?
No, I wasn't. I was surprised when I found out the news, and it was one of those things where it was just like, like I don't watch a lot of Jeopardy, but I was like, wow, I love that guy, I think. And you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just one of those things where as you're saying, because he's a legend, just everyone has love for him, even if they weren't really big watchers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
He was one of those people, one of those staples that was just always around. Like Jeopardy is just always a thing. It's always there. You always can rely. Hey, it's 7:30. Jeopardy's on. Boom, done. Right? Or whatever time. Yeah. Time zone you happen to live in. Well, anyway, guys, today I think it was late last night. News started breaking that ABC news anchor George Stephanopoulos has started kind of throwing his hat in the ring to replace Alex Trebek as the host of Jeopardy. Now, George Stephanopoulos himself is a huge fan of Jeopardy. He's always been a huge fan of Alex Trebek. And this news has garnered a little bit of backlash from the public at large. A lot of people think that it's insensitive, that his timing is too soon, And I understand that. I can understand the position that a lot of people are saying, like, whoa, pump your brakes a little bit, mister. Like, the body isn't even cold yet, kind of thing. Like, just give it a minute. Like, if you want to lobby for his job, okay, but like, at least let us mourn the passing of a legend, right? And I understand that. I can understand the insensitivity. This morning in my morning routine, there are other YouTube correspondents and pundits that I listen to, specifically about movies and movie news and all that. And one person in particular had a very interesting thing to say, and I would like to echo his words a little bit in saying that, like, if there's a member of the community, and the analogy that this YouTuber used was a bus driver. Let's just say that there's a bus driver in a community and everybody loves this bus driver. Like, he has been the bus driver of this one particular route for years, possibly decades, and everybody loves this guy so much. And you get on the bus, you just know that you're going to see his face. You get on the bus at this time, you're going to see the bus driver's face. You know what to expect. He's become friendly and familiar over the years, and that Papa John, I don't know. The Papa John is, that's first thing that popped into mind. Papa John, he's driving the bus. You love Papa John. He's a great guy, whatever. Huge staple of the community. But what happens when Papa John dies? Does that mean that you cancel the bus route? Do you just stop driving the bus? So it brings up an interesting question of, like, this is a well-oiled machine, referring to Jeopardy. It's a well-oiled machine. It's now currently missing a host. And yes, after an adequate mourning period, the show will need to, pick up and move on. But I also understand that, like, this, if it wasn't George Stephanopoulos saying, hey, I want to put my hat in the ring, or, for consideration to play, take on the role of the next Jeopardy host, it's going to be somebody else. And this is my own theory. These are my own thoughts. I don't have any insider information here. This is not coming out of any rumor mill. This is just my own thoughts and opinions. I don't think that this news was ever intended to become public knowledge. I think this is something that um, George Stephanopoulos's representatives, at whatever agency he's repped by, I think someone close to the source probably let something leak. I don't think that this was an actual, like, here's an official declaration. George Stephanopoulos publicly needs to be blah, blah, blah. I don't think it went down like that. I think it was all internal channels and saying, like, hey, listen, we're all a part of the ABC family. This is a job that I would like to have. This is something, and I'm sure it didn't come out of the blue. It probably wasn't like, hey, he's dead, I want to take his job. This is a thought that George Stephanopoulos, he had for years. And especially being that, like I said before, they're all part of the ABC family. The writing was kind of on the wall. Like, people knew inside of the ABC family, people knew that, Alex Trebek's health conditions were continuing to deteriorate. Not just in the past week, but in the past few years. These are discussions that have been had behind closed doors for a long time. So for news like this to just come out, the timing of it is very curious. I will give you that. But in my heart of hearts, I don't think that this is something that just came out of the blue. Hey, the host of Jeopardy died? Oh, well, maybe I could have his job. I don't think it was as cut and dry as all that. But Carter, you're a person who lives in the world. You hear about this kind of stuff. I think we all have heard about the passing of Alex Trebek over the past weekend. What are your thoughts on it, and how do you see the situation with George Stephanopoulos, potentially lobbying for the job?
I just think he needs to make a statement clarifying how things went about. Like, I agree with you. Like, he's in the ABC family. He might have even said, a couple months ago that he wanted to, possibly put his hat in the ring to be a possible replacement. And it just started coming out now as just another big, rumor catch, just so that you can, just for this kind of fodder for all these e-news and stuff like that. But if it is actually that he is trying to lobby his fans so that ABC can see that he has a good following, like right after his death, then I think that's kind of cold.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I think he just needs to make a statement, and other people should back up what the actual truth is in the situation about how it went down. But I mean, I think I had heard about people saying, because I had heard his name connected to Jeopardy before, like in the last year, like somebody was talking about how they thought Alex Trebek was going to retire. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that news came out like a year ago, something like that.
It was like a year ago that there was a rumor that he was going to retire. Yeah.
I mean,
but I didn't know that it was because he was sick. I just heard that he was going to retire, and I was like, well, I mean, he deserves some rest, and not, I just meant,
he's been at this job for over 30 years. Probably more. Yeah. I mean, I agree with what you're saying there. I like the idea of asking George Stephanopoulos to, now that kind of news has gotten out about, like, hey, he wants the job. Yeah, you're right. He should make some kind of a declaration or some kind of an announcement, some kind of a press release statement saying, like, hey, here's the scenario. It's not quite shaken down the way that, the press likes to twist things a little bit. There's a little bit more sensitivity to the situation. And you know what? You bring up a great point with the fact that, Alex Trebek had talked about retiring in the not too distant past. It is very conceivable this is old news just breaking now.
I mean, I think it would also be different if, when the news with Chadwick Boseman came out, I think it would be different if instead of it being fans talking about how they wanted Michael B. Jordan or the actress who played Shuri to replace Chadwick Boseman, If it was one of them who said it, that would be really
Yeah.
insensitive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you there. Big question for you guys is, what do you think? First of all, of the passing of Alex Trebek, and also second of all, the announcement of, or rather, I'm calling it leaked news because I can't imagine that this was any kind of a thing saying like, hey, body's not even cold, but we still want the job. That's my own interpretation. But what do you guys think of it? Do you still see it as a little insensitive, or do you think that this is old news just coming out now? How do you see it? Jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. Moving on to our next bit of movie news today. This is something that I have been. Carter and I kind of talked about this briefly just before the show started, but I have been a huge fan of DB Cooper for years. Now, let me clarify that. For those of you who aren't familiar with who DB Cooper is, or like what this scenario is, or whatever, years ago in the 60s, there was a man who hijacked a plane going from Portland to, I don't know, Seattle? He hijacked a plane from Portland going somewhere. And somewhere over Washington State, part of the whole agreement or the whole deal or whatever, he stole $200,000. In flight, after he hijacked the plane, he jumped out with a parachute, and no one has ever heard or seen him since. This is like one of the greatest mysteries of, I don't want to say our time, because this happened, like 60 years ago almost now? 50 plus years ago? It's an incredible mystery. It's an incredible mystery that's never been solved. No one has seen or heard of this guy ever since. And, rumors have come out and blah, 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 whatever. Well, very recently, I think it was this morning, HBO has decided to do a documentary about the mystery of DB Cooper. Who was he? Where did he go? What happened to him? What are the rumors surrounding DB Cooper? And when I say I've been in love with DB Cooper, I just mean like this is such an interesting mystery that's never been solved. So this morning, the trailer for a new documentary called The Mystery of DB Cooper dropped. And I gotta say, you guys, this looks so good. This looks like such a cool documentary. It looks like such a cool story. And it's a story that I've been enamored with for so long. There have been other kind of like half-hearted attempts at documentaries being made, but having HBO behind it, having like a real, genuine production behind this thing, this looks great. Carter, you had a chance to watch the documentary. First of all, what are your thoughts on DB Cooper, like the scenario, the situation, first of all? And second of all, what did you think of the trailer? Oh, Carter's frozen. Oh, tears of sadness. That is such a perfect still of Carter right there. All right, so let's, I don't know, Carter, if you can still hear me, what's going on? If you are still there, my friend, I'm hanging up. I'm going to call you right back through Skype. Here's the thing, you guys. Sometimes our technology here on the interwebs doesn't always work the way that you hope that it would work. So let's see if we can, let's hang up on Skype. Let's see if we can get Carter back in just a few moments. But, here's the thing about the story with DB Cooper is that, specifically with this trailer, is that it looks like, based on the trailer, that they have really gone into the myth and various possibilities as to who this guy could be. And this is such an urban legend. This goes beyond an urban legend because it was real. It was factual. There was an actual plane that was actually hijacked with actual money that was actually stolen, right? So this is a real thing. This isn't just an urban legend. But the urban legend part of it plays into what happened afterwards. That's the urban legend. And this is the story that is so fascinating to me. This is the stuff that we just never got to hear about. I want to know, what are the theories about who was DB Cooper? Was he somebody's father? Was he somebody's husband? Like, there have been multiple people come out to say, I was DB Cooper. But there's multiple people. So is it a conspiracy? Was it just one person? Are people lying about this? I am genuinely curious to find out, who is DB Cooper? Who was DB Cooper? What's going on with DB Cooper? How was DB Cooper? You know, all of those questions, all of those things, I want to know. Question is for you guys, what are your thoughts about the DB Cooper trailer called The Mystery of DB Cooper? Have you heard of DB Cooper? Are you familiar with this? What are your thoughts? Are you looking forward to the movie dropping on HBO Max? Let me know. Jump down to the comment section below. All right, you guys, we're not gonna pause the show, but we're gonna take a second, try to get Carter back on the line. I know Skype has kind of been a little weird today, so if you will just bear with me, hold on one second. I'm gonna try and get Carter back on the line. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And guys, we are back. Sorry about that. Like, every now and again in the show, hiccups happen. You don't know what to expect. Things just happen sometimes. You know, when you deal with technology, you kind of have to roll with the punches. But anyway, we have Carter back on the line. Carter, I'm sorry to inform you that we have moved on from the legend of DB Cooper. But real quick, your thoughts. Like, what did you think of this trailer?
Oh, I thought it was dope. I'm gonna watch it as soon as it comes out. I mean, I only started doing research into DB Cooper after I saw Without a Paddle, but I was so interested in the whole story back then, and I'm even more interested now.
I think it looks awesome. Very much looking forward to it.
Oh yeah. Just that woman who was like, my husband was Dan Cooper, and then that guy wearing the cape who was like, I want to be a Cooper. And I'm like, oh man,
And
I
just
need to watch
multiple
this.
people who have come out of the woodwork to say, no, I was DB Cooper. Like, that's crazy fascinating to me. I think that's really cool. Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, guys, so moving on to our next bit of movie news today. You may have heard of a little show coming out called Wandavision. Well, new details about the show have started emerging from the interwebs. Not just the interwebs, but from people who worked on the show themselves. Let's go down to the article. This particular article is from Collider. And a few people who have worked on the show and starred on the show had these few things to say about it. First of all, this particular comment comes from Jack Schaefer, who also co-wrote. He was one of the head writers on WandaVision. He also co-wrote Black Widow. He describes WandaVision as a love letter to classic TV. He says, the show is a love letter to the golden age of television. We're paying tribute in honoring all of these incredible shows and people who came before us, but we're also blazing new territory. Moving on, he goes on to say, it's been, here, let me highlight this for you real quick. It's been the biggest gift that Marvel's given. Oh, excuse me. So sorry. This is, Elizabeth Olsen. Excuse me. This is Elizabeth Olsen referring to her role as the Scarlet Witch. It's been the biggest gift that Marvel's given me, getting to do this show. You just get to focus on her and not how she felt through everyone else's storylines. You know, I think that's a really important aspect to focus on. Mary Lavanos, who is a co-executive producer on the show, says, it's really incredible to be able to tell long-form story. It's really incredible to tell a long-form story the way the comics did. In a sense, A TV show is a multi-issue comic book run, which is something that from the Marvel development side we totally do understand. And lastly, Teyonah Parris, who plays Monica, like the grown-up adult version of Monica Rambeau, whom we saw as a child in Captain Marvel, said, I was like, oh, I thought we were doing a little show, but no. It's 6 Marvel movies packed into what they're presenting as a sitcom. So I think this little nugget, this little quote from Teyonah Parris, this is kind of the big story right here. I mean, like, of course, everybody else is saying, like, some really cool things about the show, like some, groundbreaking work that they're doing on it, the types of stories that they're able to tell in a television format. But it's Teyonah Parris who's actually had the most to say about it, in saying that, no, this is not just a television show. This is like 6 movies. And, granted, it's the show is only 6 episodes long. But for her to say that this is like 6 movies jam-packed into a television show, I'm pretty sure each episode is only going to be about 30 minutes. But even still, a 30-minute, big-budget, like presumably action movie in a sitcom format, like, it's so much information to process. Carter, you're hearing about this. What are your thoughts?
I'm really excited for it, but I'm also very prepared for them to do the same thing that they did with Mulan. I know they announced it to be on Disney Plus prior to COVID and everything, but with the amount of just the amount of theatricality that's been going into it and how big the hype is, I really feel like they're just gonna pull a fast one on us and say we have to have Disney Plus pay
I mean, it's
for the
possible.
season.
I don't see that happening, but I mean, have you watched The Mandalorian at all? Season 1 or season 2?
I have a bit. Yeah, I haven't finished season 1. So.
I have been. First of all, I've been enjoying The Mandalorian. I think it's a wonderful show. I'm not in love with it. I think the scope of it is not quite as big as I expected. All the stories are they're very small stories. They're personalized stories. And I don't know, like, you say Star Wars, you expect like big, bombastic type things. And on some level, I kind of like that they're telling smaller stories. But that's also not what I was expecting when I heard, like, ooh, a Star Wars television show that has the budget of a movie. I was expecting something maybe a little bit bigger. And I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying my expectations were a little bit different. With something like this, with WandaVision, with Falcon and Winter Soldier, maybe it's wrong of me to get my hopes and expectations up. But I feel like this is going to be a bigger production than The Mandalorian. I feel like it's probably going to rise to the occasion. Kevin Feige has a brand to protect. He's not just protecting like Marvel Studios, not Marvel Comics. Like, he has expectations in the pipeline from fans, from us, from collaborators, studio executives. There are expectations set at a very high level for what some of these things can be and should be. Do you think that some of these expectations are wrong?
I just want you to be right, man.
Me too.
I can't, like, people always call me pessimistic, but I'm like, I feel like I'm just being realist based off of experience, and even just what I went through ruined my, like, the love that I had for the big movie and even just the silver screen business, like the business aspect behind it. And when I look at it, when I look at this budget, it's like it's gonna be smaller than we all expect, or they're gonna throw that we're giving you amazing things. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like this has more of an opportunity to say, no, we need more money, and Disney will acquiesce. I feel like that it's because they've not just it's not this idea of whoever they are. No, it's Kevin Feige, someone who has proven himself not just over the Marvel Cinematic Universe, not just overseeing 23 films that have amassed billions of dollars, literal billions of dollars, including the highest grossing film of all time. Period.
Of course, yeah.
But he's also had this incredible catalog of films that he has been working on even long before the Marvel Cinematic Universe started, long before Iron Man 1 came around. He was an executive producer on X-Men, the original X-Men. He was one of the executive producers on Fantastic Four. And, you know, plenty of other films before that. Like, he has been in this industry long enough that, A, obviously he knows what he's doing. Look at the MCU. But also, B, he has the street cred to say, no, this is going to be truly incredible. And to make it truly incredible, we need more funds. I feel that is what celebrity does for you, my friend. Celebrity...
I guess, yeah. I think the thing that I forgot about was Kevin Feige being behind it, because I've always looked at these quotas. Like, you have quotas for each movie, right? And then he went over those quotas for the highest grossing film of all time,
by
right?
a huge margin.
Oh, yeah. But the thing is from my experience and from what I've learned, there are no rollover minutes. It's a new project, and he has to meet a new quota. He has to have a certain budget and a certain amount of viewership. You know what I'm saying? And I think that maybe he has the reputation to have rollover minutes, so that maybe he can do that. You know, he can make WandaVision this big thing that isn't going to make, the studio the money that they want it to make, but it's going to give them the reputation.
Well, I also look at the future of the
saying?
MCU, and they've been very candid in saying that there's a huge shift where they're going to go from films into more the television realm for a few reasons. One, first and foremost, the exhibition. You make a $250 million movie, you have to, at least make like $700 million at the box office just to break even. So, I mean, if you keep your costs a little bit lower and have a super high production value in a television show, you don't have to pay theaters. You can do minimal advertising and put everything out on Disney Plus, and you earn your money back through subscriptions. I think that's...
No, I don't think they are going to make their money back via subscriptions. That was the whole point with Mulan on Disney Plus, people having to pay extra money.
That's because Mulan was a $200 million movie to make. But if your production for a television show is, say, $1 million, or even, say, $2 million an episode, that's pennies. Yeah. That's pennies compared. Say 200, even let's just shoot for the moon and say $10 million for an episode. That's only $60 million for a 6-episode order. WandaVision is only getting 6 episodes. So, if you shoot high and say $10 million an episode, Big Bang Theory used to, I think they were paying, towards the end, if I remember correctly, they were paying Jim Parsons, Kaylee Kuko, and Johnny Galecki $1 million a piece, just them, per episode. And then you have the production, blah, 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 blah. So you're probably looking at, maybe like about $10 million, 15.
Yeah, but you're also looking at advertisements with that. Like, Big Bang Theory started reaching, like, I think quarter range, upwards to quarter range Super Bowl prices, which I found out for new episodes of Big Bang Theory, which I find crazy because I don't like that show. But
it's palatable. It's a cheeseburger. I call it a cheeseburger show.
Yeah, it is.
Something that, like, you can sit down and watch it, and it's like, okay, this is fine.
I just wonder where the real revenue is coming from on Disney Plus. You know what I'm saying? Like, you already have these subscriptions, and I already know a majority of my friends plan to get their week free trial when WandaVision or Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
But that's the minority. I doubt that's going to be the majority. I doubt that.
Do you really think they're going to get that many more subscribers when those shows come out?
I mean, they did for Mandalorian. They got. I don't have actual numbers. I don't know if anybody has actual numbers.
Yeah.
But I do know that there was a huge bump in subscriptions.
There was a
just
huge
before
spike.
and same thing for Hamilton. And I think that's been Disney Plus's downfall so far. Is they've got an incredible library. They've got a wonderful library. But it's already films that chances are very likely that you own on DVD or Blu-ray or VHS, who knows, or digital already. What you want in a subscription service is new stuff. Netflix is notorious for putting out new stuff all the time. Their problem is that you just don't know about it. But like Disney Plus doesn't have all that much. I mean, they've got a bunch of new stuff, but it's also stuff that like I'm not interested in, like children woodworking, like learning how to build. It's a cool concept. It's a cool show for kids. Not something that I'm going to invest time and money into. With more stuff like WandaVision coming out, Loki, Falcon and Winter Soldier, once you peel what's Pringles, once you pop you can't stop, once you peel the wrapping off, I feel like a lot of people are going to start coming out of the woodwork, and this is going to be a machine that just keeps rolling over. We already have 3 shows set to come out in a relatively short amount of time. I have so many thoughts in my brain. And then we also have She-Hulk, we have Ms. Marvel, we have Moon Knight. Those are coming out. And then we have all the other shows that we haven't heard a lot of stuff about, like Hawkeye. The Hawkeye show is going to be coming out. They have Marvel What If, which I think is going to be a really interesting animated show. They already have a lot of it done. So there's a lot of stuff. Once they pull that the wrapping off, I just think it's going to snowball. And with people who are going to do that 1 week free subscription after, say, WandaVision comes out, isn't there like a certain time period that they are barred from re-upping for another new subscription, or like a new free subscription?
There is, and I also told my friend that there are some. Is it British? On week-long subscriptions, which is what I was guessing Disney Plus is going to do. But yet again, you have somebody who's very pessimistic about budget versus revenue.
That's fair. That's fair. But big question for you guys is, what do you think of the new WandaVision show? Are you looking forward to it? Are you going to keep your subscription for Disney Plus? Are you going to sign up for Disney Plus once WandaVision comes out? And also, what do you think about the new comments about WandaVision being 6 movies jam-packed into 6 episodes of a sitcom-style show? Does that get you excited? Do you think that's going to be new and creative? What are your thoughts? I'm interested to hear. Jump down to the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. All right, guys, we have one last bit of movie news to cover before we go on and take your live questions. And it's not news per se. I need to preface this. I am not one to jump into the rumor mill and say, oh, did you hear blah, 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 blah. Carter was the one who brought this to my attention, and my knee-jerk reaction was, no, I don't talk rumors. I don't want to perpetuate rumors on the internet, especially on my show, because that's not what Gotta Love Them Movies is all about. That's not what this show is about. We don't throw rumors out there. However, this particular rumor has gained, I think, enough traction that enough people read the headline and they think, oh, this is the truth. And let's address it for a second. Spider-Man 3 is a film currently in production in Atlanta, and they're also filming B-roll here in New York City. There is a huge so Ned leads in the films in the current Spider-Man movie run of movies. He is Peter Parker's best friend at school. They have their super duper handshake that they're super down on. But the name Ned Leeds in the comics is the Hobgoblin. The character of Ned Leeds in the comics is the supervillain, the Hobgoblin. Now, the Hobgoblin has always been one of my favorite characters. There's something about his particular brand of villainy that I've always found very intriguing and very interesting and fun. I just love the character of the Hobgoblin. And we've never seen him on screen before. We've seen the Green Goblin. The Hobgoblin is kind of a derivative. He's a thief that kind of like went into... like the green after the Green Goblin died, he went in, stole the glider and stole some of like the exploding pumpkins and stuff like that, and he kind of went off and did his own thing. And that was the character Ned Leeds. Later in the comics, we come to find out that Ned Leeds, who's also a very close friend of Peter Parker's, was brainwashed by another guy. I can't remember his name, doesn't matter. And that he was not acting of his own free will. He was being mind controlled by some other brand of villainy to become this supervillain. So blah 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 blah. So is there a possibility that the actor, and forgive me, I can't think of this actor's name. He's there on screen.
It's yes, Jacob Batalon.
There is a possibility that the actor Jacob Batalon could take up the mantle of being Hobgoblin in the next Spider-Man movie. I highly doubt that this is going to happen. Highly doubt this is going to happen for many reasons. First and foremost, there is so much else happening in this movie that we don't even know about. We know about little bits and pieces here. We know Doctor Strange is going to be in it. We know that Jamie Foxx is reprising his role as Electro in this movie, which those two things combined, very good chance that it's going to open up the multiverse. And we also know that with WandaVision is going to usher in a little bit of, well, we presume the multiverse, but the WandaVision television show is going to usher in the movie Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. This Spider-Man movie comes before the Doctor Strange movie, or it's going to be released before the new Doctor Strange movie, which also is going to help usher in the concept of the multiverse. So, the writing's on the wall. How can you, if it's not that, they've got something completely different up their sleeves. But Ned Leeds, it's possible. I mean, it's very possible if you're dealing with the multiverse. If Spider-Man goes from this reality to another reality, from this universe to another universe, it's possible that in some reality, Peter Parker Spider-Man, Tom Holland, encounters another universe where his best friend, Ned Leeds, actually is the Hobgoblin. Now, the actor, Jacob Batalon, he has lost over 100 pounds. Nobody knows if this is for his personal health reasons or if it's to prepare for a new upcoming role. It doesn't matter. This actor has lost weight. Good for him. I support him in that endeavor. Does that automatically mean that he is gearing up to play Hobgoblin? No. I mean, maybe, but doubtful. Because if the powers that be, Kevin Feige and who's directing the film, John Watts, if they decide like, hey, we're going to stick Hobgoblin in here, that seems too much like fan service. For any real kind of storytelling to happen, there's too much. There is too much already happening in this movie. I, in my heart of hearts, do not believe. Now, I may eat this. I may eat my words 6 months from now or a year from now or whatever. I may eat my words. But I cannot imagine that Kevin Feige, being as brilliant as he is going to overstretch himself so much. Oh, we have to put Hobgoblin in there because his name is Ned Leeds. No, that's not going to happen. Carter, do you have a different take on this? What are your thoughts?
Oh, personally, I think that they're I think they're just leaking things because they want us to be surprised this time. Because, I was talking to some people about how despite Far From Home being a great movie, I mean, obviously no one was surprised that Mysterio, turned bad in the
If
end,
you,
right?
for people who weren't
Um,
already familiar with the character, they were surprised. Like, my girlfriend was totally taken by surprise.
Really? Like, they really thought that Mysterio was just going to be a sidekick to
Yeah, I mean,
Spider-Man?
like the way that they played it in the trailers. I'm sorry, my cat is
Yeah.
digging in the cat box right now in the litter box. So if you can hear like this, like repetitive noise, I apologize for that. But there he just won't stop. So my apologies. But
Very good.
yeah, no, she.
I just think they're
Yeah,
throwing
I
so much
agree.
in. You know, I think they're throwing so much in just to make us think about it. Because I mean, I don't think the Sinister Six is going to be in Spider-Man 3 about it. I keep seeing so much fan art about it, and I'm not even really certain that both Andrew and Toby are going to be in it if either one of them. I mean, they're both listed to be in Doctor Strange, but those are still just like rumors of contracts, you
Oh
know?
man, that brings up a whole other kettle of fish. I feel like this is a topic that I've been wanting to talk about, but I haven't had like the right outlet. Again, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, the possibility of them appearing in this Spider-Man movie, if they are indeed introducing the multiverse, the concept of the multiverse, is it possible? Yes, 1,000%. It is possible. Is it likely? I'm gonna say 50%. It is 50% likely. In fact, I'm actually gonna put it less. I'm gonna put it less likely, more like 35%. It's possible that they're going to appear in the movie. Is it likely? From my perspective, no. Nothing has been confirmed. In fact,
No.
let me go back a little bit. A few weeks ago, there was a Sony executive who was speaking specifically on this subject. Where, like, you remember, like a month ago, when everybody was getting, oh, Jamie Foxx is gonna be in the new Spider-Man movie. Oh, I
Yeah.
heard a rumor
Yeah.
that if anybody has heard of Cosmic Book News or We Got This Covered,
Yeah.
unsubscribe to their emails. Never go to their websites ever. We Got This Covered and Cosmic Book News. Just delete those from like you put like a spam blocker on your computer for those websites, because everything that comes out of those websites 100% rumor. Not to say that some things can't end up being true, but they put out like 95% rumors, and then maybe like 5% of the stuff that they talk about actually ends up being true. So they are not a reliable source of news whatsoever. So just do yourself a favor, get rid of them. But
Yeah.
news outlets like Cosmic Book News and We Got This Covered, they were like running with the story like, it is confirmed Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire will be in the new Spider. No, that was never
Yeah.
confirmed.
They're running everything. And still, like, I still talk to people about which villain, besides obviously Electro being confirmed and people talking about Hobgoblin. People are obviously still talking about Scorpion because he was in Homecoming, or at
Yep.
the end of Homecoming. And people are still talking about what was the other one? People. Oh, and Craven the Hunter. People are
Well, I
still
mean,
talking about.
Sony confirmed
Uh,
that a Craven the Hunter movie is in the works. That like the next
yes, they
movie that they're
did.
doing after Morbius.
Venom 2,
Yeah, so
Carnage, right?
Carnage is, I think
I think it goes Morbius then
I
Carnage,
think you're
right?
right. I think you're right. Yeah. So Morbius,
Yeah,
Carnage, and then the next movie is going to be Craven the Hunter, which I think is brilliant. I think that's
yeah,
awesome. I'm very much looking forward to that.
yeah.
But so I mean that's been confirmed. Also, it's been oh shoot, what was the other thing that you said?
I said people are talking about Scorpion
I
because he was in
mean that is
Homecoming.
more likely because he was actually in the movie. He was actually
Yeah.
there. I think that's way more likely that they're going to expand his character because he's already there. Are they building up towards the Sinister Six? You say no.
No, they are building up to
Oh, okay.
Sinister Six. Are they doing it in
No.
Spider-Man
No.
3?
They're laying the
No.
groundwork. I think they're going to tell a really
Oh,
fun, interesting
totally.
story in Spider-Man 3. But again, it's not going to be like The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which I still contend is a good movie. I know I'm in the minority here. Um,
Spider-Man,
The Amazing
what? The
Spider-Man
Far
2?
From Home? Oh, I like
It
the
was
Amazing
fun.
Spider-Man too.
I
I mean,
enjoyed
the
it.
ending is yeah.
But like, they're not gonna jam pack all of this stuff to say, hey, the next thing coming, it's a Sinister Six. Of course, they're building up for it. Look at the Sony verse. If you think for a second that Kevin Feige and Amy Pascal aren't in cahoots with each other, come on. Like, there is so much money on the table here, you guys. That whole thing
Oh yeah.
of Tom Holland is he's not going to be Spider-Man anymore. Do you remember like when the MCU and Sony kind of split? There was that whole announcement that they split back at D23 last year, and then Tom Holland had to come out and he was like, "Hey guys, it's been a real pleasure playing Spider-Man, and just thank you. I just want to let you know that I'm humbled." That was a PR stunt.
Yeah. Yeah,
It was
yeah,
a pure PR stunt.
Well, just like all that Mark Ruffalo stuff was a PR stunt. Everyone was just, I mean, maybe he isn't good at keeping some secrets, but when it came to the last Avengers movie, that came out later on to be proven to be a
Which
PR stunt.
stunt are you speaking of specifically?
What was it? Jimmy Fallon, I think, when he said the name of the movie.
Oh, probably, yeah.
Avengers.
But then there's other stuff that he does where
Yeah,
like he left his Instagram live on when he sat down for Thor Ragnarok.
That was hilarious.
That was a complete accident. It was hysterical.
But if I may say about Spider-Man, can I say what my hope is for Spider-Man?
Go for it.
All right, my hope is that they really, really lean into this Sinister Six and win this movie by putting too many people in it, and then we finally get to see Chameleon on the big screen.
Ooh, Chameleon. That's an interesting choice.
I mean, it's Spider-Man's first villain, and I just feel like Kevin Feige, like at this point, was like, I mean, if we actually get to do Spider-Man 3, I feel like Kevin Feige would want to have Spider-Man's first villain come in.
So Chameleon has also been in the rumor mill. Chameleon has also been in the rumor
I
mill.
haven't heard it as much as other
Definitely
ones,
nowhere
though,
near as prevalent. In fact, he's also one of the villains that is not all that prevalent. I mean, you think of your main Spider-Man villains, you think of, Doc Ock, you think Green Goblin, you think, Vulture, you think Electro, the Shocker, even the Shocker. I love how they portrayed the Shocker in the first movie. I thought it was fun.
I find it funny that people, like, when I was talking to my friends about Spider-Man, they knew Shocker before they knew Chameleon, because I completely forgot Shocker existed until Homecoming came out.
I don't think that if they do put Chameleon in the film, I don't think he's going to be one of the main villains. I think Chameleon is going to be more like he's going to be more like one of the henchmen. He's going to be one of the guys who is like Shocker was. Like Shocker was a henchman to Vulture. I think because how else are they going to play that? You've got Doctor Strange in the movie. We already know they're going to be playing around with the multiverse at least a little bit. I mean, come on. They talked about it in the last movie, Far From Home. They talked about the multiverse. They didn't introduce it, but they talked about it.
Well, yeah, but that was also a ploy that Mysterio was putting out.
True, but they
despite it, they did talk about it.
But from the audience perspective,
I don't know.
Need to kind of like usher in the audience a little bit and like he said multiverse. What is that? Oh, the next movie talks about the multiverse. Oh, okay.
Well, see, when the first rumors about Kraven came out, I was like, oh yeah, Kraven's going to be the main villain until the end when you find out it's Chameleon. That was immediately my first thought because Chameleon's the one who tells Kraven in, I think, issue 13 or something when Kraven's introduced. You find out later that the reason that Kraven's hunting Chameleon is because Chameleon bets Kraven that he can't kill Spider-Man.
I'm going to have to think on this one.
And Chameleon, you can look into it and think on it, but I'm just saying I want Chameleon to be a much bigger villain in the MCU than people give him credit for.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I would agree with that. But I don't know.
But like, if it doesn't happen, then I want the video game to do it. Just like how I was never a big fan of Tinkerer, but I liked how they used him in Homecoming. and I'm happy to see him, with a little bit more screen time in Spider-Man
I agree.
PS5. You know what I'm
And
saying?
he's got such a great rogues
Yeah.
gallery too. It's so big. You know who I would just love to see, just out of sheer ridiculousness, is Stiltman. Just sheer ridiculous. Can we just have I don't even need him to have any kind of confrontation. Just have him walking in the background. Just acknowledge that he exists in this universe. Like, maybe
Yeah, yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. Maybe when the Baxter Tower gets introduced, maybe like have an establishing shot of Baxter Tower, and then just like walking down Fifth Avenue is just Stiltman. Just
Well, does anyone have Stiltman's name like in a prior
I don't
movie?
think
Like you know
so.
how what's
No, I
his
don't think so.
no, like what's his name from The Office and The Amazing Spider-Man 2 was definitely going to be the big villain in The Amazing Spider-Man
From The
3.
Office. Who are you talking about? James Spader?
No, 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 no. The dude, he's a co-creator or a co-writer for The Office. He plays the
Oh, Brian the
temp.
Temp. Um, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yes,
Um but yeah, him and Felicia, what's her name, are both in The Amazing
correct,
Spider-Man 2 to set up Black Cat
correct.
and whoever that robotic spider villain is. That name is escaping me
Uh,
now. Like,
the Spider Slayer.
is it Spider Slayer? I was just about to say All Star, but then I started singing it in my head, and I was like, that's
Anyway,
not it.
guys, big question for you is, what do you think of this news? It's not even news, it's rumors. What do you think of these rumors coming out of Screen Rant about Spider-Man 3, about Ned Leeds potentially being Hobgoblin? I know we got off topic. We got way off topic here. But what would you like to see from Spider-Man 3? Any particular villains? What do you think the story is going to be? Jump down to the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. All right, guys. That does it for our movie news today. A few of you have been firing in some questions in the live feed, so now it's time to take your live questions.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
All right, you guys. Some of you have been firing in some comments and questions throughout the show, so now we're just gonna go ahead and take some of your live comments and questions. And this is something that I probably should have done before the show started: is resize Carter's window here. Let's just get you in there. There we go. Nice and full. Again, live joys of doing a live show, ladies and gentlemen. All right, and our first comment or question comes from Nora Fox. Oh, Nora, whom I know as Colleen. It's a long story. Nora/Colleen says, "Do you know what the sales tax is in Chicago?"
Oh, is that about me possibly moving to
Yep.
Chicago?
I think that's what it was referring to all the way at the beginning of the show. Do you know what the sales tax is in Chicago? I don't.
I don't.
But I can look it up.
I will do my research.
You know what?
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and look it up right now. Sales tax in Chicago. All right. So Google is telling me what?
What is it?
Guess. Take a wild guess, Carter. So based
Six.
on my reaction, sales tax is either extremely high or extremely low. You said 6. 6 is kind of middle of the road. I'm gonna give you another guess.
I was being hopeful. All right. 9.5.
You were close. It is 10.25% sales tax in Chicago.
What?
That's insane. 10.25% sales tax in Chicago.
I thought the highest was like San Francisco or something. And isn't that like 9.5?
Well, now we have to look that up. San Francisco sales tax. Okay, sales tax in San Francisco is 8.5%. California's sales tax is only 6%.
Yeah.
There you go.
But there was one city in California that somebody told me was like 9.5 or something.
All right, well, now we have to
I thought
figure
that
out
was
highest sales tax in the United States? All right, let's find this out. Let's look this up. Alaska,
highest sales
Delaware,
tax?
Montana, New Hampshire, and Oregon do not levy a statewide sales tax. California has the highest base sales tax rate of 7.5%, including the country and city sales tax. The highest total sales tax is in Arab, Alabama at 13.5%. The city of Arab, Alabama has a 13.5% sales tax. That is crazy. The highest city in the United States. So I guess Arab, Alabama is the county, but the highest city sales tax in the United States is Chicago with 10.25%.
Don't forget, it's tied with Glendale, California.
Ooh.
Both at 10.25.
Ooh, look at you, Glendale, trying to raise the Chicago sales tax prices. We really got off topic. This has nothing to do with movies, but that was a fun detour that we just took. All right, Gerald Ramirez, also known as Jeddah. Jeddah is my barber, and whom I have not seen in a very long time. Jeddah, I need to come pay you a visit. If you're still watching, hit me up. Let's get some hairs cut. Thanks for dropping by. Nora, aka Colleen, goes on to say, this is regarding the passing of Alex Trebek and George Stephanopoulos. She says, maybe give it a week. It's also a bit more grating. It's also a bit more grating than it might have been if it weren't for how RBG's death was handled. Just my opinion.
True that. I almost mentioned that earlier, but I didn't know if we should get into politics.
We definitely avoid politics. I don't want to talk. I mean, like, obviously, like, I encourage everybody to go out and vote, which, it's too late to vote now, but, definitely something that we should all be aware of and, take seriously. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm going to kind of step over the RBG thing for a moment. But I mean, like, I understand. And if this is something that, if this is a conversation that was had behind closed doors, I don't have a problem with that, because these are conversations that have been going on. Like George Stephanopoulos stepping up and saying, I want to be the host of Jeopardy. Come on. This is not the first time he has expressed this desire to somebody at ABC. Come on.
No, it's not. It can't be.
This is just the first time that this knowledge is being made public. And why would this knowledge come out before the death of Alex Trebek? For two reasons. One, who knows when Alex Trebek was going to die when he was still alive? Nobody knew when he was going to pass. And second of all, it's not news. If you drop this news before his death, it's not news. It's just, water is wet, of course. Like,
I think the more we talk about it, even though I know this is just, there hasn't been more evidence that has come up, but the more we talk about it, the more I do believe this is news from a year ago that is more catching and striking now. So that's why they saved it. But that's just what that's what news sites do.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Our Oh, I love you. I love you, Carter. Our very own Carter O'Brien Ford. During the show, I think this is when your Skype cut out, and
because when you came back, I just finished typing it.
Hilarious. Carter says, DB Cooper is my husband. What? Are you in the new documentary?
Twice.
Wow. I know
Yeah.
a celebrity, you guys. And now you do too. Carter, I hate to say it, but your comment is the last comment of the day. Thank you for being a part of the conversation, sir.
Yeah, no worries.
Carter, thanks. And again, just thanks so much for being here. Thanks for adding your own expertise and your perspective on things. You have a very unique perspective. As you know, we didn't talk about on this show, but in previous shows, you went to film school in, was it Pace University or NYU?
I went to I went to a business school at Pace University, but I specifically studied entertainment management. So it was all based off TV, radio, movies, Hollywood. And yeah, one of my teachers used to be my dean used to be the CEO of NBC and HBO, I believe. And now he's a board member for IMAX. Wow. There was a lot of just information that we would get from other people, like a lot of business information, and a lot of it someone would say to me and I'd be like, that's cold, and someone would turn to me and be like, that's business, and I'd be like, okay, I don't belong here.
Fair, totally fair.
Like, you know, like it was so weird to be there. I would talk and then people would be like, oh, so like what are you doing right after college? And I'm like, I want to run my own theater.
Well, that's not sound business advice, kid.
People looked at me like I was crazy. They're like, how are you going to make money? And I went, I just want to live my life.
That's hilarious.
And yeah, I was like, I just want to live my life, be happy. And I thought business school would help me be a better theater owner. And I mean, I think it has helped me. I mean, every theater that I have worked for, I've realized very quickly, you know, what their business model is and what is good about it.
Every job you get experience, and you know what to do or what not to do.
Yeah, exactly. But it was just weird being amongst all these people who had completely different dreams than me to basically.
But Carter, thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for having your own unique perspective. Where can people find you online, and tell us about what projects you have coming up in the future?
Sure. Yeah, I'm applying to college, so you know, help me out.
Do you have a Venmo that we can contribute to?
That would be great. My Venmo is Carter-4-1, the number one. The number one. But you can follow me on Instagram if you want. I'm at CFordO. So it would make more sense if my name was Carter Ford O'Brien, but it's not. It's Carter O'Brien Ford. And but I'm just the a-hole that made my Instagram CFORDO.
Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why I can't remember your name for the life of me, because you already screwed my memory up with your Instagram. Thank you.
Yeah, other than that, you know, reach out if you want to collaborate on Facebook. You'll see me.
Great. Well, sir, thank you again for being here. And ladies and gentlemen, if you like this video, click like. If you really like this video, click subscribe. And if you really, really like this video, click share. Because that is exactly what Ned Leeds, the Hobgoblin, would want you to do. All right, guys, this is Gotta Love Them Movies, your daily dose of movie news. I'm your host, Mr. Mike Brown. I'm here all the time. You guys, we live in a weird, crazy world where everybody has their own thoughts and opinions, and sometimes those thoughts and opinions clash with each other. So if you have an opportunity in your daily life to, you know, spread a little kindness into the world, I highly encourage you to do that. If you have an opportunity to speak kind words to each other, please speak kind words to each other. And you guys, until tomorrow, have a most excellent evening.